this number now on the chart. Now this 0 is suggesting that we don't have a what? Whole. So this one here as shaded is less than what? 1 whole. So obviously, if it is less than 1 whole, good, then it will be what? 0. Okay. Now the decimal point, this decimal point here would have been this point right there. Very good. So we're going to place now this 0. Where are we going to place this 0? Let's use a different color ink. Alright, we're going to place this 0 right here. Good. Sorry, not there, but here. Okay. Now we're going to place, the decimal point is already right here. We're going to place what? The 0 here. Good. Because what? This is saying that we don't have what? Any tenths, but it's basically 0 tenths, but 1/100th. So it is 1 out of 100. So if this is 0.01, it means 1 out of what? 100. So it is 1/100th. So this one now will be written in this section. Very good. Is that clear to you all? Alright. Now my question then. What if I were to shade 9 more? So let's call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and what? 9. So we have shaded what? 9 more. But question, how many in all have we shaded? You'd have said what? 10. But what fraction of the whole have we shaded? Guess you would say what? 10 out of 100. Now how would we write this? I'm going to ask you now to pause the video and then convert this fraction to a decimal fraction. Alright, let's get rid of this answer right here. Let's use our eraser. Good. Okay. Alright. So what would it be? What would it be equal now? Alright. This would be equal to what? 0.1. Good. You could use your calculator as well. Simply place the 10 in the calculator first, press the division sign, then type in 100, then the equal sign, and you get what? 0.1. Now this 0 is saying once again that we have shaded less than 1, because this row is a fraction of 1 whole, so it is less than what? 1. Good. Less than 1 but greater than 0. But however, this is 0 here is telling us that it is less than 1 what? Whole. So the decimal point once again will be right here, and then this 0 is once again right there, and then where are we going to place the 1? We're going to place the 1 right here. So let's remove these numbers here. So this 1 now will be placed right there. Very good. So it becomes 0.1. Very good. Now, what if we were to shade everything? Alright, what if we were to shade everything? Everything, right? Everything. What if we were to shade everything? Would have shaded what? 1 whole. Very good. Now, after this, now you're going to learn how to convert from what? Decimal fractions to fraction. So sit, relax, and pay attention. But before we do that, I want to give you a little exercise. What's the little exercise? Here it is. Alright, let's remove this. Bum, bum, bum. Come on. Bum, bum. Come on. It's not moving. Oh, good. Moving that. Moving this. Moving this. Moving that. Moving that. Moving this. And this. And this. And this. And this. And this. Good. So are you having fun so far? Are you having fun? Come on, give me a smile. Okay. Alright. Now here's a little exercise I'm going to give you now. You're going to write this number where it belongs. Are you ready? 0.1, 2, and what? 5. Write this now in this chart. So pause the video and write this number in this chart. Very good. Okay, let us see if we have the right answer. So 0 will be here, decimal point will be here, and we'll have 1 right there, and then what? 2 right there, and then what? 5 right there. And guess what? How many places is this? This is 1, 2, 3 decimal places. Good? Away from the decimal point. Now here would be what? So the 2 will be in what place? The second place. So from 1 to 2 will be what? 2 decimal places. Where's the 1? The 1 will be where? 1 decimal place. So from to just after the decimal point. So when we talk about decimal places, we're talking about the number of places that the digit is in after the decimal what? Point. So this 5 is in the third what? Decimal place. Good. And that would be what? Thousandth. Good. And this would be thousandth. And then the second decimal place will be what? Hundredth. And then the first decimal place will be tenths. Am I making sense to you? Sincerely hope so. Okay, let's continue with the rest of the lesson. Now, we're looking at now converting from decimal fractions to fractions. Now, to convert a decimal fraction to a fraction, do the following. Step number 1. Write down the decimal divided by 1. Then step number 2. Multiply both top and bottom by 10 for every number after the decimal point. For example, if there are 2 numbers after the decimal, then you use what? 100. If there are 3, then you use 1000, etc. So if there were 4, you'll use what? 10,000. Do you understand? Very good. And then step number 3. Simply or reduce the what? Fraction. So you're going to simplify or reduce the fraction. So if you follow 1, 2, 3 steps, then you'll be able to convert a decimal fraction to a fraction. Okay? Very good. So pause the video and write these steps down. And remember, when I give you the questions to do, just simply follow it step by step. Okay? Very good. Let's continue from here. Now try these now. So try these now. Good. Let's go. So here's the instruction. Express the following as a fraction. You wonder where they are? Here they are. 1, 2, 3. So we'll express 0.25 as a fraction. Express 0.625 as a fraction and 0.333 as a fraction. Try. Let's see if you know already. Did you get a quarter for the first answer? In other words, we're saying then that 0.25 is a quarter. Did you get 5/8 for the second answer? We're saying that 0.625 is 5/8. Did you get 333 thousandth for the third answer? We are saying that 0.333 is what? 33 thousandth. If you did not get these, well, guess what? Pay attention to the following video clip. Okay, now we're asked to express this decimal fraction as a fraction. So we're saying 0.25. Now, step 1 state that you are to write down the decimal divided by what? 1. How do we do that? We're going to write down the decimal 0.25 and then divide that by what? 1. So that's step 1. Now steps 2 state that you are to multiply both top and bottom by what? 10 for every number after the what? Decimal point. So here we have 2 numbers after the what? Decimal point. So instead of using 10, we're going to use what? 100. So if it was 1 number after the decimal point, they would have used 10. But because there's 2 numbers after the decimal point, we use what? 100 instead. So we're going to multiply then this top number by 100. I want to multiply this bottom number by 100. Good. And what do we get? If you use a calculator, you realize that if you multiply 25 by 100, you get what? 25. Multiply 1 times 100, you get back what? 100. So that is what? Step 2. Now that you have gotten a fraction, good, this fraction can be simplified. So step 3 states that you can simplify or reduce the what? Fraction. The question is, how do we do that? Now note that the numerator is what? 25 and the denominator is 100. So let's see how we can reduce this fraction. And what kind of fraction is this, by the way? Because it's a vulgar fraction or a proper fraction. Alright, now the first step is to find the highest common factor of both the numerator and the denominator. Alright, so how do we find factors of 25? Now you find any number that when multiplied can give you 25, and we did that when we did what? Sets lessons. Remember that? So the same way we did in the sets lesson is the same method you're going to be using. Alright, so now factors of 25. Good. So we have 1. What else? We have 5. What else? We also what have? 25. So these are the factors of what? 25. Now we can also now find factors of 100. Now the factors of 100, so let's write it down. Will be 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 25, and what? 100. Good. Now, so factors of 25 are 1, 5, and 25. Factors of 100 are 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 25, and 100. Now, what is then the common factor of 25 and 100? We have 5 and 5, which is common to both numbers, and 25 also, it is also common to both numbers. But which number is the highest common factor? So the highest common factor would have been what? 25. Is that clear? Now we're going to use this 25 now, which is the highest common factor, and divide both the numerator and the denominator in order to reduce the fraction. Okay, so what do we do then? We're going to say now 25 divided by the highest common factor, which is what? 25. Good. So you could then draw a line here, right? You draw a line right there, and then you said, okay, then 100 right here divided by the same what? 25. So 25 divided by 25 is equal to what? 1. 100 divided by 25 is equal to what? 4. So we are saying then that 0.25 can be written as a quarter. Simple as that. So once you follow the 3-step method that you are given, then you should not get this wrong. Right? Just simple as that. Good. So step number 1, write down the decimal divided by 1. Step number 2, multiply the decimal number by the number of what? By 10. But it's depending on the number of what? Digits after the decimal point. So we have 2 digits, so therefore we have 2 zeros. You see that? Good, let's look at it. We have 2 digits after the decimal point, so we have what? 2 zeros, and that gives us 100. I'll use the same 100 that we have here down here. Now if this was 3 digits, then we should have what? 3 zeros here and 3 zeros there, and then we carry out our multiplication. So when 0.25 is multiplied by 100, we get what? 25. And when 1 is multiplied by 100, we get what? 100. And the next step now is to write this in its what? Lowest term, or to reduce the fraction. So if you're in an exam and you're asked to write a fraction in its lowest term, the steps 1 is to find the factors of both numbers, and then you find the highest common factor of both numbers, and then you use that highest common factor to divide both the top number and the bottom number to get your lowest term. And that's it. Very simple. So based on what we showed you before, we're going to ask you now to try these questions. And guess what? As usual, you know the routine. Pause your video and then try the questions. But before you pause the video, you need to write down the questions first, don't it? Very good. So the instruction simply express the following as fractions where they are. The first one, 1.025, the second 0.5, and the third 0.0005. So I'm going to ask you now to convert 1, 2, 3 of these decimal fractions to what? Fractions. So pause the video and do just that. Let's see what your answers are. Did you get 1 and 1/40th? I hope so. If not, return to the example. Did you get a half? I guess you did. I know you did. But if you did not, return to the example. Did you get this one? Of course you did. And if you did, give yourself a clap. But if not, you need to do something about yourself. And that is go right back to the example. Here we are, addition of decimal fractions. Now, I deliberately did not give you an example of this. I simply only give you some advice, some instructions. Why? I want to test to see if you are able to read and follow instruction. So here is the instruction. First one, write down the numbers, one under the other. So if I give you one decimal number to add to another decimal number, you're going to write that number what? First, then under that, you're going to write the other number. Now with the decimal points lined up, meaning that guess what? Let me show you something. Let's say I gave you this 1.19. Now this would be the first what? Number. And let's say I gave you another number, which is what? 0.10. Now we're saying that I give you these two numbers. Good. You're going to write what? One under the other. So guess what I'm going to do? Let's come over here. 1.19. And I'm going to write this number now, this number here, under this one. So 0.10. And there we are. So we're going to now add these two. So simple. Write one under the other. And it says what? With the decimal points lined up. So you can see that both decimal points are what? Lined up. So 0 plus 9 is 9. So add normal. 1 plus 1 is 2. Keep the decimal point. And then 1 plus 0 is 1. So your answer is equal to 1.29. Very good. Okay, so let's go to step number 2. So add zeros so the numbers have the same length. And you notice that I did that before. And then guess what? Then add normally, remembering to put the decimal point in the answer, which you saw in your example. Okay, so look at now addition of decimal fractions continued. Now, you're going to write down the two numbers, one under the other, with the decimal points what? Lined up. Add zeros so the numbers are the same length. And then, guess what? We're not talking about addition of decimal fractions. We're more talking about what? Subtraction of decimal fractions. So I want to please to make a correction here. So this is supposed to be subtraction and not addition. Okay, so it's supposed to be reading as subtraction of decimal fractions. Alright, so here are the steps, similar to addition of decimal fractions. So simple. Write down the two numbers, one under the other, with the decimal points lined up. And then the other, add zeros so the numbers are the same length. Then subtract normally, remembering to put the decimal point in the answer. So simply try following this instruction and see if you get the answers correct on the worksheet. Remember to call Mr. Bernard as soon as you're finished with the worksheet. Very good. Now, the big one. The big one. Multiplication and division of what? Decimal fractions. Okay. Here's the instruction. It says, simply convert the decimal fractions into fractions. Don't you know how to do that? Of course. And guess what? Then work them out normally and then convert the answer back into decimal fractions. So guess what? If you follow this instruction, you have no problem. But guess what? Somebody out there said them want an example. So go up, give them an example. Alright, let's give them one little beanie example. Here's a little beanie example that I promise you. I'm going to say 0.5 times 1 point what? You choose. 0.25. Here's an example. Try a look on this one, no? Alright, guess what? We're going to convert 0.5 to what? A normal fraction. So, what is 0.5 equal to? You know, man. A half. Very good. Then multiply it. What is this equal to? 1 1/4. Because 0.25 is a what? A quarter. So this is what? 1 1/4. So we have normal fractions. So we're going to convert this mixed fraction to an improper fraction. How we do that? We say 4 times 1 is 1 plus 1 is 5. So therefore we have what now? A half times 5/4. And then we multiply straight across. So 1 times 5 is 5 and 2 times 4 is 8. So therefore your answer will be equal to what? 5/8. Yeah. This reminds me of a student in the class. You want me to tell him name? You want me to tell him name? His name start with D. That's his first name. And guess what? His second name, the last name start with B. You try to figure out which one me attack. The person know himself. Me know you laugh. Alright. So here is an example. Simple. Convert the decimal fraction to a normal fraction. For both of them. Then convert the mixed fraction to a improper fraction. And there do a normal thing. Simple. And the same thing for the what? Divisions of decimal fractions. You think me I gonna show you an example? No. Because guess what? It is the end. So thank you very much for viewing another CDP MATHS LAB Teaching and Learning Center video production. Another interesting but simple lesson created by Ronique Bernard and facilitated by Mr. Leighton Smith. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
The days of Elijah, declaring the word of the Lord. And these are the days of your servant Moses, righteousness being restored. And though these are days of great trials, of famine and darkness,